Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Actuali podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm DJ.
And it's our weekly live stream series, meaning Making 101. Today, it's a very somber day because somebody was ruthlessly unalived, as we're supposed to say on YouTube. Truly a political assassination. Somebody's life was ended merely for their political beliefs, which is insane to me, and it's heartbreaking and gravely disappointing and disturbing to see the amount of people online that are celebrating, not just justifying, but celebrating. A lot of people I know believed this guy to be this far-right extremist, white supremacist type, and regardless of whether or not you like Charlie Kirk or agree with his opinions. I've seen a lot of footage of the guy by now. I didn't like him at first either, but I didn't ever catch any white supremacy or anything like that. I never got any hateful rhetoric out of him. He certainly has different points of view, but I don't see any justification for this whatsoever. This is disturbing beyond belief, and I just feel our nation at the edge of serious civil discord, potentially civil war, or even worse, fractional war, which seems even more likely than civil. Civil war is like two sides fighting each other. Fractional war would be, those sides have splintered and you got groups within those groups fighting each other. So you got lots of sides fighting each other at once. It's just pure chaos.
To be fair, it is only two sides. It's the crazy extreme left that has taken over the reasonable left and kicked all the reasonable people out, and then everybody else.
And basically forced
you could call
through very extreme levels of peer pressure and social conditioning, ostracizing and censorship and scare tactics. They have basically forced a lot of the centrist, moderate types amongst liberals to at least pretend or to kowtow and support some of the more radical or extreme positions because you don't want to be labeled, this or that cruel moniker either. You don't want to get put in with that group that everybody is justifying, the killing of. So
yeah, in short, Charlie Kirk is no longer with us. Whether you liked him or not, he actually was a good man and very respectful with the way he talked with people, whether you like his positions or not.
Yeah.
Whether you think he's far right or not, he was taken, and it was for political reasons.
Yeah, just for his opinion.
And it's not just this like, oh, it's out of nowhere and crazy loon. We've for the past 10, 15 years building up, demonizing the other side, demonizing the other side, demonizing the other side. And now this is what you get. And a lot of us are really affected by this. Even if we don't know Charlie, it's like...
Right. And for all of you out there, just for your information, both of us were formerly basically lifelong progressives, always very independent-minded, but we agreed with a lot of this stuff.
I was always an anarchist, but still anarchist and progressive.
We agreed with a lot of liberal values and even some of the more progressive ones as far as taking care of the planet and should gay people be allowed to marry.
Yeah,
that's where I come from.
Don't be a bigot. Don't be a racist. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Now people are justifying this. They're really, truly justifying this because they truly believe that Charlie Kirk was evil and that he supported very far-right extremist ideas.
Can you blame them when all they see from CNN, MSNBC,
right? Is that people like this are dog whistling?
All the liberal, basically the entirety of the corporate media is liberal except for Fox News, and I'm not sure about Fox News. I think they're still pretty liberal too.
This drama and trauma is how they get clicks. They want us fighting this divide and conquer methodology. It makes them money. And corporatists that would like to run this planet instead of free governments made up of the people that are by, for, and for the people, they would rather run this planet. And so you have forces like the WEF, Klaus Schwab, and that whole crew.
Who's been funding all these DAs? Mr. Soros. I think we can say that without getting kicked offline now.
And these people absolutely fund and help to amplify a lot of far left ideas. We've seen this stuff, and it's been cataloged thoroughly Charlie Kirk, let the conspiracies begin.
Yeah.
What's up, Ninja Bat? Welcome, man.
Well, it's not. There's a conspiracy going on, but whether it was like a professional hit or not, it's still
we don't know.
Key
Yeah.
bono. Who benefits? Well, we know.
True,
The people that
true.
are celebrating him being killed right now, and the side that foments that kind of feeling towards people, the same side that hates white people. And when little white girls get stabbed in the neck on trains, they try to be like, "Well, but the killer." Well, I saw her die and
So-
bleed out, and I saw Charlie die and bleed out. And you know what? The left ain't right on this one.
And well, the far left extremists, because there's nothing wrong with leaning left or leaning
no,
right.
but
It's once we start getting extreme
Here's the
about our
thing, though.
ideas.
Is if you're on the left and you're not with all the really crazy stuff, you're far right. So
Well, that's what they will say to you
Yeah,
to force you into jumping on their bandwagon.
the
For
Overton
sure.
window is no longer on the board of left or right. It's just gone so far left that anything that isn't
Yeah.
super far leftist is considered far
Yeah.
right.
So either this was a professional hit or it was someone that was radicalized by the media and our social media algorithms.
We'll show some stuff a little bit
That if
later
it angers,
on.
it leads the algorithm, And Ninja Bat says here, my belief is Kirk was another JFK example. He was moving too many college students.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we were talking about this earlier with a friend of ours too. I mentioned that it's like, I was driving here and I had the thought of like, this is what people must have felt like when JFK was shot, because you see the people crying and like when people tell their memory and you're like, oh, that's weird. But then like, I gotta admit, like I was sad. I'm angry, but I was like real sad and like I'm more sad than I should be because I don't know this guy. Right. But then I realized that's what this is.
Yeah. And I know people think that Charlie Kirk's rhetoric harms people, and that's how you can justify this violence and celebrate this violence. But man, you all have seen, I don't know, you've watched one too many really effed up movies like House of a Thousand Corpses or something to think,
Hey, that was a great movie.
oh, that stuff disturbs me so much.
I know,
that kind of shock
it
horror
does me too.
disturbs the heck out of me. And I remember watching that movie
Yeah.
when it came out, and I didn't like it. And I remember thinking to myself, this is bad. If people actually get entertainment out of this, I don't know what this means for the future of our society. But
So
I started to understand why, like, our elders used to be disturbed by us seeing violent imagery on TV when we were young. Well, man, now it's going to the point of celebrating and getting off on violence and
Luigi Mangione.
yeah, and then people that are like trying to rebel against Christianity and pretend to be Satanists, which is hilarious.
What do you think is
also celebrate the violence? And I'm like, how are you guys even justifying being on the side of right if you're justifying violence as a means to an end when there's nobody over ideas? Now, I get it in self-defense. I don't get it over people's just ideas. I just don't get it.
So what do you think is worse, watching House of a Thousand Corpses or watching one of those really terrible dramas that just make like men and white men and Christianity and everything out to be really bad, and then the person that's the protagonist that should be the good guy is just a totally rotten person?
Equally offensive to me.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm
art
at.
is a powerful, sacred tool, and we're like, I think powerful artists are like wizards, and sometimes they don't realize their true power because you really do affect the culture more than anything.
Well, there's a lot of occultists that have been involved.
Culture comes before politics.
But a lot of occultists and, the Hermetic Gnostic types that have been involved with the Hollywood and the music industry and all that stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
But aside the point, all this stuff, all this hatred is out in the open. All the mainstream news people have been, and also
I'm seeing
Democrat
people
politicians have been putting this out there. And how many times can you call a group of people fascist or racist or Nazis before people start getting really mad? And
we really got to save those words for the people that actually are those things too, because you take the power out.
You
of
just
them.
had a bunch of Christian kids praying that got mowed down from a crazy person that hated Christianity, hated life, hated the fact that they convinced themselves to be trans and their parents let them do it, and all that stuff. Then you get another person who's stabbed in the neck, another girl who's hatcheted it apart so they could steal her car, and this is just another Tuesday, right?
Yeah, right.
And then this happens, and it's like
and I've seen too much of it happening with the extremists on both sides, like people excusing violence. Right now, I see a bunch of people posting on X that are so pissed off about what happened to Charlie Kirk, they're ready to fight, and I think they're just as dumb as anyone that would excuse
and
the killing of Charlie.
One caveat I have with that, though, is I do think a natural response after the grief is anger, but then we have to make sure that we tell people it's like, look, you're angry, but if you go out to the streets with your pitchforks and torches angry, you
Yeah.
might get the wrong
Yeah,
people.
check
And
yourself
you're
because I
gonna
seriously doubt that's
oh
what Charlie would have wanted.
no,
And if you're a Christian, that's certainly what JC wouldn't want.
well, Charlie wouldn't have wanted. He would have told you to talk to people,
Yeah,
which is what we
which is
should
what he
do.
did.
So your super far left friends that love the fact that Charlie Kirk is killed and they like all this, the culture of death and murder being acceptable. You need to tell them it's not right. This is unacceptable. And if you want to continue to be friends with me or continue to be part of the communities we've created, you got to stop that and you got to call it out because it is not right. And I'm not saying, oh, cancel culture. No, I'm saying literally, if somebody's participating in evil, you have to give them an ultimatum and be like, look, you can come back out of that
Right.
or you're going to continue with that, but I'm not going with you. Well, that's how we all ended up on the far right because we refused to keep going with the Overton window train that just kept going and going far left.
Yeah,
And
because
then
I don't
we
feel
just
like
got
I've
left
moved on
behind.
my positions, but suddenly the Overton window has shifted so far that now, like, wanting to peacefully solve problems and encourage conciliation and compromise, that can make you an enemy.
Hmm.
It's insane, dude.
So there's a question here that
How
Ninja
do you
Bat put.
change insanity? Good question,
well,
Ninja Bet. I feel you, man. Like,
You don't. You prevent against it. You can make people insane by sophisticated propaganda, but the only way to go against insanity is to make sure that you keep a community and raise a community of people that value sanity, rationality, reasonability, and you organize your all self in a way where you can actually make a good lasting community. And you do have to get rid of the free riders and the insane people that you can't help. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? We'd all love to help the world and everybody, but sometimes when you're like really crazy, there ain't nothing we can do but lock you in a box and keep you fed and keep you from hurting yourself, right? But then there's also the people who don't want to change and you don't allow them in your communities. You don't hang out with them. You say no. And then the people who can be saved, well, they have to save themselves. You can't save somebody else. It's like they're falling off a cliff and they're holding on and you can grab their wrist, but they're shaking and going, and freaking
guys,
out. They have to grab back.
There's some of us that have been fortunate and by sheer luck found ourselves in the midst of two sides in an insane fray, and we're kind of looking down at the battlefield and we're seeing these forces ready and ramping up to go against each other. Every once in a while you see somebody run forward and kill somebody else. And those of us that are here at this place, and those of you that are wondering which way you should lean, stay independently minded. I see you here, Ninja Bat, saying those of us that are clear-minded have been passive for far too long. And that reminds me of an old quote from Einstein, where Einstein said, the world is a dangerous place not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing.
Well,
So how do we respond to this? Because we don't want to see more violence. We don't want to see tit-for-tat violence going back and forth and a civil or fractional war pop off here, which we are very much on the verge of. We might very well be in a cold civil war as we speak.
Well-
How do we help turn it back? We've got to show love. We've got to show unconditionality and understanding and a willingness to speak and try and comprehend one another and meet each other halfway. And
well,
otherwise, we're screwed.
if you can meet halfway. But here's the thing. What do you think the human's most powerful weapon is? Is it a nuke? Is it like rods from God? Is it, harp?
I think it's
No,
our heart.
It's the word.
It's the word.
It's the word. The word created
There
the
you go.
universe,
Okay.
and he had a name. But
And what do you do
your
with that word?
Well, you
There.
speak, you question, you talk, and that's why Charlie was killed. Is he spoke too loud, he spoke too often, he spoke with too many people, and the media likes to say, "Oh, he was this divisive guy." He brought so many different people together, even people who disagreed with him, to disagree with him, yell at him, and when his crowd wanted to heckle them, he told them, "No, let them speak." I can't think of a better example of what we should be doing in this country.
Yeah.
He actually embodied the democratic philosophy better than any of these democratic politicians.
Well, he was
or
liberal
these
with his
activists.
speech. That's what liberalism stands for. The right to be liberal, to act liberally, to have freedom to speak and act as you.
Wait, he was
so
a conservative
intend.
liberal? Yeah, you can actually, you can.
There are conservative liberals.
Well,
there used to be a
I
lot
tend
more.
to think
Yeah.
I'm more of a conservative liberal. Family comes first. Don't go messing in people's business if you don't have to. Respect other people. You may not disagree, but at least hold a space, even if it's at arm's length for people who you don't necessarily agree with.
Yeah.
And then use your word, use your wit. Encourage the youngsters to use the word, use their wit. real education on how to think, not
Yeah, and to
what
have
to
real
think.
compassion and love for those with whom you disagree, and to find out how to do that, because that seems impossible at the outset. But you can have genuine care and compassion, even for people that you violently disagree with. You can find a place in your heart to feel for them. You can see in their
Yeah.
anger the hurt that was inflicted upon them in the past. You can see in their defensiveness the fearfulness of things not working out in a way that seems safe to them. You can understand that from your own perspective.
And
We've got to come from that angle, or we're going to let this world get much, much worse. And this is the world that we're going to leave for those that come after us.
I do believe, though, we have to be careful with that one as well, because there is something called suicidal empathy. So even that can go too far. That should be our baseline that we look for. But when you
But
have,
what was Jesus' kind of empathy?
yeah, but the thing is when somebody wants to stab you in the neck and kill you, you can't just be like, oh, but the poor, like
Oh,
they
of
were going
course,
through
in that
something.
immediate moment, if they
Yeah.
are really coming at you.
Or you can't
But if they're
just,
not coming at you,
just
do you still have words?
but you can't assume that humans are good and there is no evil. Like,
No, we
and just
can't
let
assume right off. No.
let everybody into your home and your house that does horrible
Yeah,
things.
we're predispositioned
So,
towards goodness, and if that
we
isn't trained
need
in us,
empathy,
we've
but we
lost it.
have to have discretion.
Yeah. Fair. Of course.
But
yes,
if you get
yes.
too discretionary, then you get into bigotry.
Well, you don't get wisdom.
right? And if
So Buddha said this really well. It is not that wisdom leads to compassion, but compassion that leads to wisdom. So you're right to make this point. There's a thin line that we don't want to cross to get to the point of suicidal empathy, where you're going to let yourself get killed, and the own movement for loving peace to be injured.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't want to put yourself in that level of danger, but right up to that line, we've got to hold on to our heartfulness and hold a space of compassion, because there are some people that are still able to be saved. And I know it seems like some people are so far gone that we'll never save them. And maybe that is the case with some. But then, of course, I mean, I've seen some great YouTubers out there that were people that were once very far left and believed in some very extremist ideas, or very far right. And they came back home to sanity and became a much more reasonable person that sees the insanity of what they once believed.
Well, so I guess, in that case,
So it can happen.
it's like holding a space open for that individual that is making the turn to come back, but not so open that the freeloader or the psychopath or the destructive agent can get in, right? Because your city, so whether it's your community or yourself, right, has a gate. It needs a gate because you need things to come in, you need things to leave, right?
Yep.
Like any organism or city, you have a gate. But if you just leave it down all the time, well, the hordes can get in, or the bad weather can get in, or just unforeseen circumstances. But if you keep it too closed, you starve to death. And that starving to death, I would say, is probably along the lines of humans need humans, whether we realize it or not. And if you isolate too much, like, what is it to really be human? Do you really know? But on the other hand, if you go too far and you leave your gate open and you just let everything in there, then there's the toxic components. Like, one of the far right, we don't like, just endless immigration from third world countries with really bad ideas about how we should treat people well, that's just leaving the gate open and letting that in. No, there's a reason why we don't let that in, because then it comes inside and it destroys. Just like you don't consume poisons out of regulation. Some poisons will help you, but some poisons, even the ones that will help you, will kill you. So be careful what you take in, be careful what you put out. You should be angry right now, but I don't think we should be we shouldn't be encouraging civil war, even if you're preparing for it. We shouldn't be encouraging
and there's no
it.
should be, but there is. Yeah, it's understandable if you're angry. You don't need to be angry. You can stick with the sad part of it and work from there as well. But it's definitely understandable, man. If any of you guys out there are upset to the point of anger at this, totally understandable. Somebody was just mercilessly killed who absolutely did not deserve it.
Assassinated.
So it definitely fits the bill of a political assassination.
So, Ninja Bat, since our creator gave us all we need to live and thrive, but if evil doesn't play by any rules, how do we keep it at bay? Well, here's the thing. Evil does actually play by rules. The devil has to play by the same rules that everybody else does. And if you think of Satan, Satan is the judge, the adversary that is playing in these rules, and nothing in the universe can go outside of basically God's will. There is still a set of rules, even for the demons, even for like evil. There is a set of rules. You just need to be better, or not you specifically, but we need to be better at knowing the rules and actually knowing human nature and not letting our ideals and this idea of utopia and we can all be kumbaya get in the way. We also need to not let our cynicism, which can help us not get too
stop us from striving towards that more ever perfect union.
So it's optimization. Evil does play by rules. Maybe not the same rules, and if you let evil make the game that you're playing, well, then they have the advantage. The idea is to change the game.
Yeah.
And I think the best way to do that is in the minds and the hearts of man.
Yeah.
And
because we always
man,
make the mistake of trying to change the rules of the game and the systems that the game operates under, the governmental structures and what have you, the laws, and think that that's going to create the perfect utopia paradise instead of just changing ourselves to be able to live up to those higher ideals. Because if we don't change ourselves, you can't create that kind of government. You'll just create another despotic, corrupted government that will now have defenses in place against how it got overthrown. We could have a revolution tomorrow morning, but we won't be able to live up to that revolution. The new system will become corrupt all over again, to put it simply.
Yeah.
We got to change ourselves.
What has gotten us to this point where there seems to be a quite sizable fraction of the world that has embraced killing of people for political means as a good thing? Like, how did we get here, right? Because, appropriate times to kill people is in defense of yourself and your family or your country. Those are appropriate. But where's the shift between like actual threat and working ourselves up into an angry panic? And I think both the left and the right and the center and everybody involved is still prone to that, getting worked up. And it's like, it's this guy, screw him. He's, evil. Just like, if you go online, you look at the leftists, a lot of them are cheering for Charlie Kirk's death. So what makes that kind of person? And if you can understand that, you can inoculate yourself for the most part and those around you from catching that contagion. Because it is a contagion. This worship is murder as a means to an end. And then the end you're going to get to because of murder is a good thing. I don't believe the ends justify the means. I believe the means justify the ends. So in order to get to a peaceful ends, if you have to murder, it's not a good it's not a good ends. Because if it's a terrible means.
Yeah, Martin Luther King had a great quote on that. The peace should not be seen as merely a distant goal, but the way by which we achieve that goal.
Yeah,
I think that's absolutely right. We got to lead by example.
But so, Charlie, rest in peace. But you showed us something. You can be far more dangerous to those who want their way, the evil people, if you use your words and you actually embrace democratic values, democracy values.
And you tell the truth about what you feel no matter what.
And talking with people.
Yeah.
They don't go around, assassinating, the people who just get angry and go, they don't assassinate those people. They assassinate the reasonable people with reasoning and reasonable people that have a lot to say.
That's how it begins. And then once you've justified the dehumanizing of a popular figures to that degree, now you can justify the street murders that happen more easily as well.
Well, in some ways, the street murders are easier to deal with because you can abstract that.
Yeah.
Unless you're shown the video of the person dying and bleeding out, really doesn't affect you. And even like, say with the St. Floyd stuff, I use that term as a joke. The St. Floyd stuff, all they have to show is the same like few shots over and over again for like 20 freaking minutes. And then you're like, yeah, this cop killed him. But they won't show you the fact that like he had enough fentanyl in his system to kill a freaking horse. And they won't show you all the video beforehand where he's freaking out and be like, put me on the ground, put me on the ground. But then we had to have our cities burnt to the ground and a bunch of people attacked and killed and murdered. And some of them were on the left side and they still got murdered. So
well, we got a couple of comments here. We got one. So Jack Foster, hello, how are you? How are you doing, Jack? Thanks for joining us, man.
As best as we're doing as good as we can be.
Yeah, over on Twitch. And Shavaya said, transform yourself and see the world follow. I love it. Beautiful. Well said.
If enough of us do it, we'll have the weight.
And so then Jack also asked, if enough of us do it, we're going to see a wind change. So Jack Foster asks, or says, I'm British, but I'd like to know your stance on the utility of the Second Amendment.
I can speak to that one. So ultimately, what a firearm is for is to kill. Um, or well, okay, or sporting, but I'm going to take like the target shooting out of it. It's to kill for food or to kill for defense. And if you use it for retribution, that's a crime, and it should be a crime. Now, the utility of the Second Amendment is, there's a phrase: an armed society is a polite society, and it's real. Like if you go out to the country where everybody's armed, you see far less crime. And in America, you can just look at the statistics. In all of the gun-free zones and gun-free cities is the worst crime, because criminals will always have ways of killing you.
And finding weapons, yeah.
You need a way to defend yourself. Now,
so we have all the school shootings and stuff. So people think that's due to the guns being so readily available. But I believe that it's due to a sickness in our culture, because if you can't find a gun, you're going to find another way to hurt people. And there was a boy in Texas that set off a... there's ways. People will find the ways.
You're from the UK.
They'll 3D print.
You probably know all about stabbing crises and other things. You guys still have shooting, so like people will find a way to kill each other. But the gun is the grand equalizer, and if anybody's a feminist out here, it's actually the best for women, because women can, like something like the AR-15 platform, the big scary black gun. The AR-15 platform is great for women to defend themselves, because now they can actually defend themselves against men that want to aggress.
Yeah.
When we all had swords, we all had swords.
Women have never had an equalizer like a gun.
Now, the other part of the Second Amendment is when our government starts to become tyrannical. And you're in the UK, you're starting to see the buildup to that.
Yep.
Not saying be violent. I don't want to get you in trouble, because I know how your government is about saying naughty things on the internet.
Yeah, right.
But it's also to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government, whether it be a local government, like say the company store. Like if you ever Battle for Blair Mountain,
the coal barons in
stuff like that, or the federal government. And it's one of the things, even though I hope we never use it, does make even the most tyrannical American government think twice.
Yeah.
Also, the third thing is good luck China invading the landmass of America, because behind every blade of glass is an American with a rifle.
Yep.
Same thing with you, Russia. Same thing with you, UN, if they decide to get, or not UN, UN, NATO, anybody who decides to get too big for their britches. Taking away guns doesn't make the world any safer. It just makes humans have to be better at killing each other. Because if you take away my gun, I got to figure out how to make something else to kill you, and I will. And most of the murders in this country are like blunt objects and strangulations.
Yeah, poisonings, things like that. Yeah, yeah.
That 1.5 million ways to kill somebody.
Yeah, but we definitely have a mental health crisis in this country.
But in short, on the utility end, it's to protect yourself and your property directly and those that you love, right?
Yeah.
And so
we have SSRI medications.
Either as a deterrent, because people are armed, or actively because somebody's aggressing, and then you have to take them out, right?
Right.
Then there's the food end, of course, but then there's the keeping your government and other governments in check. Right.
Okay, so I see Jack responding here, and he says, "So yeah, well said, dude." Then thank you for being so reasonable in how you're asking these questions, Jack, because I can tell you're genuinely curious, and so I agree. Removing guns doesn't negate the potential for criminality, but it surely limits the amount of casualties in a single attack.
Not true. You can get chemicals from any hardware store or anything else like that, and you can get certain other items, and you can make yourself a pretty effective claymore that can kill hundreds of people if you put it in the right spot.
And I've heard of some like mass stabbing casualty like events in Japan, and I think maybe the UK as well.
Well, remember the sarin gas attack?
There you go.
Subways?
So there you go.
Japan.
So people will find a way. So
I'm not calling you stupid. Like I get what you're saying.
If it's not guns, it'll be nail guns.
But here's the thing: is for all the casualties that happen from murder or murder from guns, there are millions more that are defensive uses of firearms, and those are statistics to look into. So how many other murders or crimes are stopped because responsible people have firearms?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to stop the criminals from being criminals.
So Foster, Jack makes the point, further, you can do a lot more hurt with a gun than I can with a knife, is my point.
Not true.
Depends.
Not necessarily true. Within 15 to 20 feet, the knife has it, the gun doesn't. And then how many people can you stick in a subway before they realize who's been stuck? When somebody shoots one shot, everybody looks.
Yeah.
And then
in that close range, I've heard that between 10 and 15 feet, somebody with a knife can advance on you a lot quicker than someone can typically draw a gun, unlock the safety and fire.
Yeah. No, and then there's the whole extended mags and stuff like that. It's like, but still, you think like like the ghetto kids, they're like, we got switches, you can't mess with us. And if you don't know what a Glock switch does, is it essentially turns a Glock into a fully automatic. Even with the 30-round clip, that 30-round automatic is going all over the place. I've seen them. They record themselves and they're still up on YouTube and Twitch and stuff, even though it's highly illegal to have a Glock switch and stupid. My final point, I believe, will be what, and it's a question. It's a question to anybody. It's open-ended question. Why would you disarm law-abiding citizens and not allow them to protect themselves because of the smallest minority of people that want victims disarmed? Right? And those people being criminals and politicians, which is kind of the same.
Yeah, because governments will very quickly get a lot more despotic and authoritarian.
Yeah, and I appreciate your questions too, because like, I mean, look, if you didn't grow up in gun culture, then they're weird.
And I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts on the lockdowns during the Rona epidemic? Because I know people in Australia and Ireland and other places were experiencing some really severe lockdowns that I wonder if the governments would have tried getting away with if those people were an armed populace.
Well, the UK and
because it's supposed to be governments of, by, and for the people.
They used to have guns,
yeah,
and it used to be nice and polite societies, and then guns get taken away, undesirables get shipped in by the boatloads, and yet again, most people are killed by bludgeonings and strangulations. That's just a fact. Now, but thank you for the question, because if you didn't grow up in gun culture, guns are scary. And also, here's the thing. If you've never really shot a gun, you're not going to hit much, except for maybe some casualties here or there. One of the dangerous things, particularly with people who don't know how to use their firearm, is casualties you didn't intend. Right? You're not hitting the person you want. And that's where I'm a huge advocate for not mandatory, but people like forming gun clubs and stuff. It's like, we're going to learn how to shoot these things, shoot them accurately, know what to do, go through our drills, know how to handle them safely, build the community that way. Yeah,
gun culture in the U.S. is interesting. I remember ever since I was a kid, whenever I've been around a family with guns, you could see how adamantly the father or whoever the older person was handling the weapon would make sure to always keep the weapon not pointed at anybody.
Yeah, don't flag me,
would
bro.
really stay on top of any younger person that was handling that gun and teaching them with great caution and wariness of how to respect this thing and how dangerous it is and how you never, even if a gun is unloaded and you point it at somebody, anybody in America will lambast you hardcore. They'll go off on you because that's a complete no-no. Even if it's
most responsible gun owner, well, all responsible gun owners, but I see a lot of dudes like.
Well, of course, you always have the irresponsible.
Well, it's also like, I hate to say it, but a lot of the the inner city ghetto types that are like, yeah, we're doing our gun thing, and like they're flagging each other all over the place. Yeah. They're like holding a fully automatic. Yeah.
So at what point do you control society? Because I mean, a car is a dangerous tool as well. You can do a lot of damage with a car if you wanted to. So it's tricky to know where to draw the lines on the restrictions that we enact in our cultures. I don't think that the gun violence in this country is due to the fact that we have so many guns. I think it is because we certainly have a mental illness crisis on our hands. We have a lot of lost souls.
We got a bunch of rats.
It's happening around the world.
A bunch of rats contained in cities. That's in the rat utopia, universe 22, and it makes you crazy.
Yeah, and what do you think, Jack, on those responses we gave you? Do you have any further thoughts while you're thinking or typing?
And I know I sound like an a-hole. I don't mean to come off as an a-hole. It's just I have
that's
voice.
That's a great question, man, and it's perfectly reasonable to ask. If you
can't tell, I like guns. I think they're cool. I know what they are. I know what they're for, but I think they're awesome pieces of machinery. And I like knowing that good people with them help save people. Millions of people are saved every year by responsible people with guns.
So what's happening in Ninja Bat now says what's happening in the UK is largely because they aren't able to defend themselves. Australia saw a rise in home invasions and knife crimes when the guns were outlawed.
Well, dude, even in the UK, you're not allowed to express your discontent. The stats
are skewed mostly by those attempting to take guns away.
Yeah. 30 people a day in the UK are arrested for saying naughty things on the internet, such as, I don't want my tax dollars to go pay the people coming in that are R-wording
Yeah.
and murdering my daughters.
Right.
And you sent away. You can't say that. You can't complain.
Yeah. So
Um,
let's see some other people's thoughts on this, because when I was just doing a cursory scroll through X today after hearing the news, I immediately saw this gentleman, and for someone that so many people on the far left believe is racist, it's amazing the amount of Black Americans that support Charlie Kirk. And here's a gentleman right now that I think had some great things to say. Here we are, guys.
Charlie Kirk just got shot. America, we gotta heal. We can't keep doing this. Can't keep doing this thing where we demonize people for having different beliefs.
truth.
Where we try to cancel and convict and kill people for saying what they think is the truth, even if we disagree with it.
Man.
Oh, no, but the right does it all the times.
Where the degree to which we're willing to uphold our principles is dependent on our political or racial or gender or community preferences. We can't keep doing this.
Well, we can, but it's going to be a short life.
Charlie was shot because he's honest and people listen to him.
Yep. What'd he say? Shut him up?
Even if you believe he was wrong about every single thing that ever left that man's mouth,
Yep.
he was shot because he's honest. And somewhere along the line, we became so arrogant, so convinced of our own righteousness,
Yeah, right.
that we have people in this country who believe that when someone says something we disagree with, it's right to kill them. We can't keep doing this. And whoever shot him was trying to make a political statement. This
Or
is
have him shot.
terrorism. This is
Have him
using
shot.
terror to accomplish a political end.
Yep.
And I don't think anyone who's committed to honesty and decency should be quiet. Because we need to keep saying the truth.
That's what I was talking with Arthur about
That's
earlier.
the only way. Because we've become so divided and so polarized and so focused on what's going on in our minds that we don't see what's going on in reality. We're canceling family members, excommunicating people that we know over our opinions of people that none of us actually know. We can't keep doing this. We gotta heal. And it takes all good people with clear minds and sound hearts to do it. To say no matter what, violence is never the answer.
Amen, brother.
Ever.
It's always the last answer. And then we're all dead and deaf by that time.
I didn't even watch this other one, but I saw this guy pop up too.
Yeah. But
So,
on that,
Man, this racist has so many Black men supporting him, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people.
Oh, don't you know the black conservative,
Male and female,
black
all different
conservative
colors.
Men, they act white. They're actually white. Ooh, race identitarianism.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see how many different people of
But-
different colors come forth now.
Yeah. Well, so he mentioned this, like not talking to family and canceling all that stuff. When I was saying earlier, like you have to talk to people and be like, look, this is not acceptable to rejoice in the death of people and all this stuff. That's not canceling people. That's just saying it's not like an opinion. It's you're participating in something that I can't go with you. Whereas, cancel culture is being like, oh, you said something I don't like, or you talk to me in a certain way. So, you don't talk to me like that. I'm going to go off. Or there are reasonable reasons why you're not going to hang out with people. And those are like, if they're, say, your friends are drug addicts. You don't want to hang out with drug addicts.
Right.
Or your friends are gotten to the point where they hate and are violent towards everything that you are. You might not want to hang out with them. You can tell them, be like, these are the reasons why I don't want to hang out with you.
Hey,
and
I
be
love
around
you, but I can't be around you. Excusing violence.
Cancel culture be
you
like,
know?
there's no redemption. There's always redemption. Hey, man, yeah, you're a crazy
I
left
can
loony.
get that.
I was too.
I can get where you're
Come
coming
back.
from there.
You
I mean,
know,
I really hope that I can keep my heart open towards people, even if they are spouting this kind of nonsense. As long as y'all aren't threatening me personally, I'm gonna leave my heart open for you. But God, man, this is hard, and this is disturbing, guys. I saw too many people that I know on Facebook today celebrating this event, and it is so freaking dark. It's so dark. It's so disturbing. I mean, how are you guys letting yourselves get to that place? You must absolutely, truly believe that this guy was an evil man, but coming from somebody that spent a long time being an activist that leaned left, and I mean a long time, like half my life, um, to see through one's ideology is a brutal awakening. But God, to come back home, fam, like look into these people that you so vehemently disagree with, the Jordan Petersons, the Charlie Kirk, and watch them yourself. Don't look for stuff that attacks them and that proves that they are what you believe they are. Don't look to confirm your already held bias. Challenge yourself and see if you might have been lied to or seen some information that was very convincing, but was pushing you in a direction that
a good way to do that is look to see if you can actually understand what
the other side
whoever it
believes,
is saying,
and see if you can steel man
and
their,
if you
their side.
still, if you understand what they're saying and you still disagree, fine.
Yeah.
But I find most of the time is like, and personally too,
You got to be able to defend their point of view to truly understand.
But the biggest
where
arguments
they're
I've
coming
had
from.
with people was just a lack of mutual understanding
they
of what the other
refuse.
person's point was or what your point was. So it's like,
I'm not going to try and understand someone that preaches hate.
or even beyond that, you said something, so I immediately took it to be this, even, and then I stopped listening as you're explaining, or I just didn't get it, and now I'm basing my opinion and argument off of a fictitious creation of your argument. So one thing that made Charlie Kirk really good is he would try to understand the other person's argument, and if he wasn't clear on it, he'd ask them questions.
Yep.
And then once he understood, he can be like, okay, here's where I disagree, and here's the reasons why. That is dangerous to people who want to control the world and keep people stupid. And that we don't teach this in school anymore. We don't teach to comprehend and understand another point.
These people employ incredibly sophisticated conditioning schemes. They know how to psychologically manipulate people by the millions. They've been doing this since at least the early 1900s in a very sophisticated manner. But we've been doing this for eons. Leaders have done this to their people for a long time.
Well, people have done it to themselves,
and
too.
I do believe we are being played by divide and conquer methodology to this day.
And well, we can't blame just the leaders either, because people will willfully make leaders so there's this idea that we're all having, and we're going to make this leader out of it, and we're going to put them in there, and we're going to build them from the ground up. It's not only just, the elite and the WEF and all of them that are doing it. It's us doing it too. And if we're wise about it, we can do it, and we can lift these Charlie Kirks up into the light, who are reasonable people.
Yep.
And we can lift the Jordan Petersons up into the light on that end. And I get it if you don't like Jordan Peterson. He's very like super high intellectual and uses big funny words. It sounds like Kermit the Frog from Canada. But anyway.
He does.
Oh, yeah,
he does.
straight up.
Okay, so Ninja Bat asked the question, why can't people just change the channel or walk away? And it's because they truly believe that they are right. They have been so effectively lied to that in all the media and the people around them support the same idea that has been proliferated. The seed has been planted. They are, and this can happen to anybody. So it's not a matter of intellect, because people are being emotionally manipulated. It's so easy to manipulate anybody psychologically if you can manipulate their emotions, no matter how intelligent they are. So this has nothing to say about the morality or even intellectual, capacity of anybody. Anybody can be lied to. They have been lied to. We are lucky that we were able to see around it, that we caught an opportunity of something that opened our eyes and caused us to question.
I also think it's
because I used to believe a lot of this stuff too. Like it can happen to anybody, and so we got to understand that we are dealing with people that have been very effectively brainwashed. And when we approach them with new ideas, we have to recognize that this is their entire basis for reality that we are upsetting. So you got to treat it like you're doing brain damage and be very sensitive and understanding. These people truly believe this, and they're trying to do what they think is right in this world. They have just been misled. So we have to find a way to reach through to these people and We're gonna have to speak with emotion. We're gonna have to use the art of story. We're gonna have to come at angles that are gonna be not the ones that we think we're gonna have to come from now.
Well,
But we're going to have to do something that is very counterintuitive to ourselves right now because we just want to debate and argue,
well,
and
I
that's not
also
going to get
think
through.
the not being able to walk away or change the channel thing is also addiction.
Well, there's that, yeah, for sure.
Addiction
Yeah.
and habit, habit leading to addiction. Well,
So
you
we got to
have the
encourage
habit
good
of,
habits. Yeah.
of watching the same sources or listening to the same people and all that stuff, and then you become like addicted to the rage. Right? Doom scrolling is a real freaking thing. So you're almost dealing with an addict as well, like this Trump derangement thing that people get, like and you'll see their veins start popping as soon as you mention the
Yeah,
freaking word,
yeah.
like Trump or not, but like the people that get like really crazy with it. It's an addiction. It's an addiction to the rage, and rage is addictive.
It
And I
also
can
gives
tell
you a
I'm
sense of
rageful dude.
control. You feel like you have a sense of control when you think that you know what the truth
Well,
is.
but the thing is, you also think you're right when you're addicted to this thing, and you're
Yeah.
like, well, see, like I keep, like looking up this stuff, and I keep
Well,
saying the
and you
same
won't
thing.
challenge it because that's your
Sure.
basis for reality, and that would upset your entire. You would not feel very stable anymore if you did
Well,
that. So
then
it's
there's safety,
scary.
safety and security.
So Ninja Bat then says, so what you're saying is they can't be changed because of cognitive dissonance. No, I think that some people can still
be
be
changed.
brought back
No,
home because we see examples of people that were once of the far left or the far right that have come around and realized the insanity of what they once believed.
Yeah, I think it's a bit doomer to just
They
put
have no morality as an overgeneralization and a stereotype. That's the very thing that we're trying to stop happening in this world.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit doomer to just put the whole
It's not all of them.
they can't be changed or people can't be changed. People can be changed. They just need to want to. So maybe like, how do we figure out
Yeah, we
how
gotta
to make
stay.
people want to change?
Yeah.
And I keep getting back to
And
this.
stay white pill.
Inspire.
Stay white pill. Even if it's 99.9% chance that the black pill is what's coming true, hold on to that 0.01% that we have, that chance, because if there's any chance of being able to make it through this bottleneck, we have to try with all of our hearts for that 0.1 or 0.0, whatever.
And your next point, Ninja Bat, they have no morality. I disagree. They have a skewed morality. And maybe the farthest reaches of where you go to get morality, like say God, the absolute, they don't get there. The morality is just what's in the moment and what people are. They have a morality, it's just highly skewed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying. Like, I agree. That's really terrifying. And it's sad that there are a portion of the population that refuse to be saved, whether
Yeah.
they can or not.
But what would Jesus do is what comes to me in this moment.
Save
is
the ones you
what
can't.
would Jesus
Save
do?
the ones you can, and tell directly to people you can't why you can't.
Yeah, and pray for the ones you can't as well.
Yeah.
Keep your heart open for them enough to pray.
Well, because maybe they turn around and
Because
actually.
it's our dispositionality that the people that are younger than us are emulating, So we've got to be that change we wish to see in the world. We've got to be more soft-hearted, even when this world makes us want to be hard-hearted.
Well,
we can't let them turn us against one another because that's the trap.
Let's not forget the
That's the
lesson.
downward spiral.
Let's not forget the lesson of Paul was Saul. Paul was an apostle that met Jesus after Jesus' death, and Saul, who ended up becoming Paul, would help people stone Christians and kill them, and then was sent to go persecute more in another city, and on his way there was struck blind, deaf, and dumb and thrown to the freaking ground, and then told the only people who are going to help you are the people that you hate and you've come to persecute. And then he became Paul, and then he became one of the biggest evangelists that traveled all around to spread the word.
And he would
So
have been one
even
of the
somebody
best
who will
because of where-
hold your
yeah.
coat while you stone to death Christians
Yeah.
became one of the biggest Christians.
Yeah.
Right? So even the most despicable can be saved. But you're dealing with addicts that are lazy,
Mentally ill.
slothful because they don't want to change. They don't want to
Envious.
put in the work. And envy is the big one
It's
too.
a really big one, isn't it?
Envy and prideful.
Jealousy and envy, pride, the arrogance of it.
Well,
yeah.
no, we're right, and we should feel this way. They shot Charlie Kirk, so screw those leftists. They're, like
The
it
sense
goes
of
both
intellectual
ways.
superiority that comes along. Yeah.
And I get like,
Dude, I used to do that.
and I can tell you because I'm angry. I'm freaking furious, and I'm furious because I don't want to feel sad. Because when I feel sad, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
Furious
I'm
doesn't feel
angry.
good either, though.
I'm filled with wrath. But we can't.
But sadness is close to heart. It's love.
Well, you got.
It's just that,
You got to move through it.
Yeah.
And you got to.
It's okay to be sad, man. It's sweet and beautiful for us to be sad. It's a testament to the loving nature
So actually, Ninja Bat with Paul, it didn't take a violent action. It was literally the spirit of Jesus Christ came, and he was blinded and
He had a vision.
fell off of his horse or his donkey.
Yeah, he had a vision.
And then had a conversation.
Yeah.
I like to
A vision that
bring it up.
that figuratively leveled him.
But hey,
but literally in the story, but it's a good metaphor that the story
Yeah.
utilizes there.
So
He's
it took a very
leveled by this
violent
realization.
piece of crap human being, had him look and encounter what he's actually doing to other people, and then had the chance for those people and that person,
Put him
Christ,
in a
to talk to him and be
situation where
like,
he
"Why
relied
are
on
you
them."
persecuting
Yeah,
me?
yeah.
Why are you doing?" One good thing to ask people who have the Trump derangement or the super far leftist stuff is like, why? Why do you believe this? Why do you believe that it's true? And then they keep going, well, because of this. Are you sure that that's true? Like, why are you just believing that? And then why? Like, nothing's more infuriating than a 3-year-old going, why? But why?
Yeah,
But why?
You have
But
to help
it works.
them to understand their thought process.
Well, Socrates did the same
and
thing.
find out that,
well,
maybe I'm jumping to a conclusion because I heard something and a lot of people said it and it seemed to be true. But remember what Buddha told us. Don't believe anything just because many people believe it to be true. Don't believe anything because even your elders say it is true. Don't believe anything because even I, as Buddha, say it is true. Only after careful observation and investigation and finding it to be true and good for one and all, then accept it as true and live up to it. So you got to be willing to question.
Well, and
always.
it's up to you too, not to do the
Yeah.
whole like selfish individualist thing, but your universe and how you engage in it is really up to you. And that's one thing, going back to the Bible. The Bible isn't about the universe and all these different people. It's about you.
Yeah.
That's what makes it powerful.
It's about us.
And then to go further, this faith and open discourse with people and making humans better. It's about you, not about them. Even when they're shooting at you and trying to kill you, it's not about them because they're going to shoot you when you don't know. You have to be prepared for any circumstance and prepare your mind and hold close to those that you can.
Yeah.
And then hold a little space, a little quarantine area for those who may be coming back, but you just never really know. You got to check to make sure they're not a zombie first. And if they're not, then they can come back in.
Yeah.
And you, we all need to be responsible personally with our relationship with each other, with the world, with God, with, whatever fractional amount and angle you can put in the universe. It's really up to you because only you are living your life.
Yeah. You got to be good with your own conscience if you don't want to talk about God.
Well, like you cannot get away from God because all that is you is of God.
Right.
So God's you for him incorporates you. You just can't get away from it. Yeah.
I do believe that
Yeah. Personal
a
responsibility.
transcendent source lives through all things, all matter in this universe is its immaculate dream. And we are the players on the stage that get to co-create with this infinite divine source. And we can create a hell or a heaven of this world.
Oh, the scary thought is, though, this is the heaven.
It's already heaven,
This
and
is
we're
the peak
destroying
of
it.
civilization.
It's already a heaven, though. It is. It's a bounteous,
man.
beautiful planet teeming with life and resource. And we get to either be the wise stewards of this planet and protect and usher this life forward, or we destroy it. And, for all the people out there that hate humans, we always say this on the podcast, but I hate the idea that humans are a cancer because we are outgrowths of this planet. We are extensions of Earth. So Earth is doing this to herself, so to speak, but not even that so much as that this is the natural process of evolution. We are extensions of this planet that have become self-reflective. And now that we are self-aware, we are actually able to tool our evolution in the direction we wish to go. Physically, culturally, technologically, in every direction.
Well, I think-
And we really, it's like we have the power of God's, but not the wisdom of God's. And God, do we have to cultivate that wisdom right now, fam, for one another and for those that come after us that are helpless, those little babies and children growing up in this world. We do hand this planet off to others that we were once that little size and shape and that scared little individual that needed the world to take care.
Oh God, we have
to create a better place for it to live in. So let's try and do that for those that come after us. We should try and make this world better than we found
We need
it.
to be really careful with what we normalize for the youngsters coming up too. Like if this political violence gets normalized, there's only
Dude, I always think
one
about
direction
that.
it's
Like,
going to go.
what do young people feel right now when they see that the adults do not agree on anything to the point of violence?
Well,
That's
even
got to be the most unsettling experience growing up. I mean, it was bad for me growing up as a kid, and
Yeah, right.
especially during the adolescent
and
years.
you know, the late
It's
80s,
gotta
early
be
90s were freaking awesome.
right,
You know, like
dude.
as far as
Man, it was like a golden
civilization
age.
goes.
I
Oh,
know
yeah,
that
but,
young people even
but
now
still,
look back
there was
nostalgically on
high
the time they weren't
crime,
alive.
high
Yeah.
murder, high drug use, and all that stuff. But there's something different.
Genuine, authentic, and we were still accepting of one another even when we had different political beliefs. We could still be friends.
Yeah,
That was
well,
one of the
thing,
major differences.
some of my earliest memories with, you know, like going to school and all that stuff was the idea of be colorblind and religion blind and politics blind.
Yeah,
You know,
treat people according to who they are at heart, not by
Yeah.
some general superficial distinction
Yeah.
like hair color or eye color or belief or
Now, mind you, that
sex
can
or
go
whatever.
wrong because
Yeah.
like it got to the point where it's like, well, don't talk religion or politics at the kitchen table or at the bar or at any place you should be talking about it. And then we forgot that,
Yeah,
oh, no, we
forgot
actually
how
need to talk about
we
this.
we started pushing the uncomfortable things under the rug. We
Yeah,
never
right.
created that place that we could still talk about the politics and religion that was safe, because it became something that was like, ew, I don't want to do that because that's difficult. We've got it. Talking things through is the last resort we have before it turns to violence. If we don't work out the complex, difficult disagreements that we have as human beings through conversation, you know what comes next. And all of you all out there that are fantasizing about violence and fighting against those evil, bad people on the other side, man, y'all are being stupid.
And I'm telling you,
I'm sorry to be insulting, but
okay,
I mean,
you can go ahead and insult me because I have those moments. Like
oh, it disturbs me that
last
people,
night watching watching that girl get murdered, and then today watching Charlie Kirk get assassinated. I had those moments, and I was mad, but they're fleeting. And don't allow your addiction to make you hold on to them. You got to let them go. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
in the
'cause-
moment you're going to be like, screw those people. Like I want to see this person strung up and quartered.
Yeah, I
But
don't.
then you have to.
I don't.
You have
I
to,
saw
you have to be like,
whenever
no,
I see
no,
people posting that
no,
kind of stuff, it
no.
disturbs me because that's
Yeah.
that's exactly the wrong place, because that's the mentality that somebody got into to be able to kill someone in the first place. You know,
Well,
we don't want to
that's-
let ourselves go there,
That's why you
because
got,
if it's wrong for them to have done something like this, then it's just wrong
well, and
for
that's
us
where
to
you
use
gotta,
violence in this
you
way.
got to
Oh,
catch yourself when you're having the thought,
yeah.
because the succubus, how they get you,
Oh, you'll,
is first in your thoughts,
and then you'll
and then
excuse
in
it.
your words,
Yeah.
and then in your deeds. So if you can stop it in your thoughts, then you don't go to the next step.
Don't listen to
And
that
if you can't,
dark angel.
if you can't prevent that next step in the talking about it, you're going to go to the next step in deeds, and then we're killing each other.
Yeah,
right.
you have heard as
So
an
stop
eye
it in
for
your
an eye.
thoughts. It's natural to have the thought of vengeance and wrath. It's not conducive to human flourishing if we keep holding on to it.
No, and I'll tell you, you will get
You
to the
know.
point where you stop even having that thought anymore. It won't come to you anymore.
Yeah.
Open your heart up all the way, guys, and it will open to the point of bursting. You will feel deep sadness, and then you'll feel a great love
Yeah.
that helps heal that broken heart. But yeah, man, I mean, it's there for us all. It's there, man. And, you know, I remember having those kinds of thoughts when I was younger, too. And it's natural that people have those thoughts. But like DJ said, then it turns into words, and then it turns into deeds. Don't even let it get to the point of words. Don't even let it get to the point of a post. Catch yourself while you're thinking it and being like, am I doing the very thing
Oh, dude, there's
that
some
I
every day.
am speaking out against?
I have a comment written that I'm going to put up on something that's really angry, and I get halfway through it, and I just delete all of it, and I don't even do the comment because it's like, nope, gotta stop.
I had to stop posting stuff on Facebook that was political,
Yeah,
because I realized I just kept getting myself into these flame wars with people that I was never going to get through to. And even if I do get through to 1 in 1,000, it is just so psychologically heavy to be on social media debating
When
people.
is it really worth it?
You know, is it really worth it? Or can I
Yeah.
just spend more time on trying to be a better human being myself?
Next,
And I don't think I'm a great human being by any means.
I
I have
think
a
you're a
lot of
great human
flaws
being.
too, but I do my best. But we're all works in progress here. Let's at least try and aim ourselves in a more loving, caring direction, and not let ourselves be led astray by those that would seek to turn us against one another. Don't fall for the hate train, man.
So that actually leads really well into a Ninja Bat comment. At my age, I don't have the energy or the tolerance for idiots, as I can only care for my family and friends. I can only hope to keep them safe. I feel terrible for Charlie and his beautiful family. If you're spending the energy you have on your family and friends, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Spending your time and energy arguing with the faceless idiot on the internet is probably not a good use of your energy. And yet again, it's like, yes, we should strive to help people, but then you can't let in the freeloader. You can't
we got to be the example
person.
of what we want to
So
see.
you're doing a good job.
If you disagree
family,
with
friends,
someone,
your homestead, the people that you love, that's great, because there's a lot of us that never grew up with that, person caring for them, and then we're just lost in the fucking ether.
And we may be past the tipping point now, Ninja Bat, too, but we got to try with all of our might to
what angle
reverse it as much as we can now, because
or what angle do we
next.
tip to? Because even though we're tipping over, are we going to go to certain doom, or are we going to loop back around to something sane? Just because it's a tipping point doesn't mean the game has
I
to
texted
go.
you earlier today. This is either going to shock a lot of people into recognition, or a lot of people are going to ante up. And I think it's going to be a bit of both. And let's see what wins out. But I hope it shocks a lot more people into recognition, and it starts a conversation. Because now one thing is for sure, Charlie Kirk has just been turned into a super mega Charlie Kirk because they made him a martyr.
Yeah, so good luck, far left.
Boy, now you're going to have even more people, young people, emulating his way of being. And you just created a tidal wave. And I mean, in the next election,
there's worse people to be than Charlie Kirk too. I'm sorry.
This is just it's going to make him so much more popular than he ever would have been while he was alive.
Well, it's going to go beyond this. It's going to go beyond him. It's going to go into the power of the martyr. Isn't the individual. It's the movement, the cause,
it's the ideas,
the faith, the idea.
No, the ideas of
the conversation.
Yeah,
So how many people in that crowd that witnessed what happened are now going to be emboldened to actually have the conversation at their kitchen tables with their partners, with their close friends that they couldn't talk to about this?
Yeah, because we have passed the tipping point, haven't we?
Yeah, and that's maybe one of the beautiful sides of a tragedy like this is is
Ninja Bat. Speaking of the beautiful side of tragedy, I have a great stepson. I love my shed.
Okay, well, since he put it out there, Ninja Bat is part of my family. He's my stepmom's husband, so I'm his stepson. So he's my bonus dad, and I'm his bonus son, I guess. I helped him put up a shed. It's cheap Chinesium, but we did it right.
Nice, man.
You need to strap that thing to the ground, though, before the winds come through, because even with the heavy boards below it, it's going to turn into a kite.
Oh, fun. Get it done.
But we have good conversations too. And like some of the stuff in here is a continuation of conversations me and him were having earlier. And it's just like, when's the time to say, screw it all, I need to go into super protect mode?
Yeah.
Or when do I need to reach
and I
out?
empathize with this perspective too. But I also see the horror of what is to come if we don't turn this back. And so I really do believe we got to try as much as we possibly can, now more than ever, to turn back the insanity and try and help heal the divide that we see occurring. There's some people that it's going to get too intense when you start trying to talk to them. But if we come with the disposition of love and caring and trying to understand, I think we're going to get a lot further than we give ourselves credit for.
I would say we need more people to man the gates. So when those who are really trying to come for help and come back.
We need
to
more
the
people
fold.
standing.
We can let them in, but then when the Mongol horde comes, we can go and wrap it up real quick.
Those of us that are willing
gates.
to stand amidst the fray of these two sides, ready to go at each other, we've got to popularize this stance. We've got to take on this orientation of being willing to help these sides compromise and try and pull our friends and family back home to a place of conciliation and talking together and actually having some compassion for one another again. Because if we can just understand each other's value orientations, meaning what our ideas are rooted in as sets of values. Once we understand the values that somebody is orienting from when they believe this or believe that, then suddenly we can relate and understand where they're coming from. So we got to be willing to try and understand the other side with whom we disagree well enough to be able to argue it, like you were saying, DJ, earlier, because then you're going to see that they're not so crazy. They just have a different point of view. And you're going to see that by and large, the vast majority of people out there are not evil or hateful even, or even racist or this or that phobic. They're actually just decent people that see things a little bit differently than you. And there is the capacity for conciliation within us.
Or you will actually see if they're completely crazy or they want to hurt you or not.
Yeah.
But how are you going to tell the difference between the two if you can't actually like understand what they're talking about or hold enough place in front of your walls so then you can communicate with them and see if they actually are like pirates in the horde or if they are good people.
Yeah.
That's the thing is it's really hard. It's getting really hard to tell, who's good or right or not, because like say on the right and for my friends on the left that don't really understand because they don't view any right-wing stuff. The right has a bunch of splits. There's the pro-Jew people, and then there's the like we don't like the Jew people because they control everything. And then there's the people in the middle that are just kind of like, hey, like leave the Jews alone. Yeah, those politicians that are involved in this country are terrible, or this individual Jew who did something in this place is terrible. More nuanced. And then there's, yet again on the right wing too, you have secular right wingers, and then you have religious right wingers, and that's another like they're not all the same. It's not all one thing.
I listen to my solfeggio frequencies to decompress. That's awesome.
Hey man, they're good for you.
I like listening to the beach sometimes. And I just realized Jack Foster had a lot more to say here.
Let's get back to Jack.
Yeah, back to you, Jack, brother. If you're still in here,
conversation. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, so he had left off saying you could do a lot more hurt with the gun than I can with the knife.
Yeah, and I disagreed.
Yeah, and so then you made some good points there. And then he goes on, I agree with the sentiment when it comes to this debate that you can't necessarily account for how many lives are saved by having guns as a deterrent, but you can for the attacks and casualties. But this is why it's so controversial.
Sure.
Fair point.
Yeah, exactly, because it's not necessarily stacking beans in piles.
Yeah.
It's not that apparent. It's a lot messier than that.
Yeah. And it's hard. Yeah, you can't count how many people's lives have been saved because you never know. And then so Jack goes on, and I trust as an American, you probably had this conversation more times than I have.
Sure, I've been on both sides of the argument as well, too.
And that's helpful to know too. To see that you've come around to this position.
I was raised around guns, but then I was also, well, maybe some sensible gun laws, and now I'm like, screw them all. I want cannons. I want like full artillery.
So then Jack goes on. It's a very interesting and important conversation. I believe social media is a culprit here because having a constant platform to engage in political conversation is a double-edged sword if the algorithms are tuned to only show us the stuff that makes us angry. That's the key.
Well, but it
can lead to positive and constructive conversation, but can also stoke hatred at an unchecked rate.
That's where we need to keep the sword double-edged and not like intentionally blunt one edge of it. It has to swing both ways in order for it to be useful. Yeah, that double-edged sword, right?
Right.
So if you don't blunt, the anti-gun arguments or the pro-gun arguments, you're not having a gun argument now, are you?
No, you're not.
So
yeah, good point. And so then Jack shares a quote: "Don't take refuge in the false security of the consensus."
Yeah, no, for real.
Comes to mind.
Yeah.
And then he also states, I'm more concerned with a lot of the reaction to this attack than anything. So many political point scoring and celebration. It's mind-boggling.
It's sickening too. I think what gets me the most with that though is in my thoughts getting into the tendencies of want to score the points and be like, see, the fucking left, they're nuts and they're killing people now, which is true. But like, what point am I making? Am I making the point of like, oh, lefty people are bad, or the fact that we've gotten ourselves so riled up that like as a culture, it's okay to murder people? So, yeah. I feel that within myself, like, yeah, own a lib. It's funny to actually, one of the dark humor things is one of the videos that Charlie Kirk, or his channel put up right before he was taken out was, one of those like kind of owns a lib things, which when you actually see it is not actually that, but what bleeds leads. So you put it in the thumbnail to make it sound away, and then and then it clicks on, and then you see, oh, actually that was a relatively reasonable conversation.
Yeah.
Did I get clickbaited?
Yeah, right. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's go ahead and wind this thing down. We got one more video to share with you guys. And another gentleman that is just, expressing honestly about what we've all just learned. Let's go ahead and jump on over. Here we go.
I don't know if it's just me, you guys, but is everybody else taking this hard?
No, it's not just you.
I in the house, like with my family, like we had our own crisis. Like I am taking this hard because Charlie represents he represents so much to the conservative movement. He is there's not a person they could have took from us that is more important besides maybe Trump or somebody like that. But that's how important that man is and has been. Just the way he died, you know, doing what he loves, getting shot. For what? For what? What did he do?
Spoke
This is
the
supposed
truth.
to be America. This is not America. This is not the America I grew up in. It's not. The left has turned this into a scary place for people like me.
Yeah, and what is this? Is this guy stupid? Is he dumb? You know, is he dumb to like Charlie Kirk as a black man? Or is there something that maybe you missed somewhere?
That he's just a normal person and
Because
normal
maybe he's
people.
an intelligent human being and he looked at Charlie Kirk for himself and found out, oh God, this guy isn't quite what I thought he was.
And he brought up the left, you know, and it's going to sound like I'm going against what I was saying earlier, but no, left, this is on you. And if you're one of the reasonable people on the left that thinks that they're reasonable and is all down with the Democratic Party and, you know, down with the NPRs and all that stuff, and you feel this is wrong, it's up to you to talk to those that are on your side.
Yeah, because even if you don't
we
like Charlie
can't talk
Kirk
to
at
them.
all, you got to call this out.
Well, Charlie Kirk tried to do it, and what did they do? They put a bullet in him for his trouble.
You want people to think it's okay to go after you for having a different opinion than them, then let's not normalize this. Let's not normalize this.
So-
This man is absolutely 100.
And he called out the left, and it is the left that has led to this.
Yeah,
And I don't want the right to react.
it's the far left, the extremist left.
Yeah. Well, everything else is far right. If you're not far left, you're far right.
So the far left says, and that's how
Yeah.
they trick people, and that's how they get more and more reasonable liberals to pretend to play along with them because they don't want to get ostracized either. Everyone's afraid of this, and you know, this cult like.
Well, I don't want to be called a Nazi.
And you notice how the far left starts causing people on the right cultish now too. So it's like,
Oh, sure. I used to argue against it to be like, actually, you know, racism isn't as
the
bad.
whole cult thing was never said
it
as an
is.
insult in the first place, guys. It was a diagnosis that people were noticing.
Sure.
About the far left.
Well, with the left thing is, you know, I used to say,
can't just
and I
toss
used
it
to
back.
believe that, you know, racism was, you know, weaning down, and it was right. But now it's getting more and more and more.
Ramping up because
You
of
know,
the anti-racism, which is
really
just
because you know
new
you
racism
You can't
rebranded.
say, hey, there's a pattern here, like
Yeah.
you know, if like. But now it's actually people are actually getting really racist because of the resentment.
Oh yeah, no, everything is racial identitarian politics.
And I'm
now.
talking about
Everything's race.
white people being racist against black people because black people, it's just been okay to be racist against white people. Asians are racist against other Asians and everybody else. Latinos are racist against other Latinos and everybody else. You know, white people, Western white people are the only people that have an out-group preference, which is really weird as far as
But
the species
that's
go.
the culture, though. That's the culture.
That's Western
It's
culture.
not white people. It's the culture here in the West.
Now, it was
that-
a bunch of
that
white people that
encourages
made this
that.
culture originally in Europe, but it has nothing to do with the genetics of
But
our
it's a
freaking
combination of Greek ideas and
Sure.
Northern and Native American tribes delegation models. So it really isn't just even stemming from white people. So it's like, come on, it's just Earthlings. We're
Though,
all just different.
Skin. That Iroquois
tones of
nation,
brown.
they killed off their rivals and exterminated them too. So, hey, we all do that.
Not the Iroquois Nation, though. We're talking about the Northern Confederation of Tribes,
Well,
which was
it's actually the
Lakotas and
the history of Americas isn't this kumbaya thing. They were killing each other crazy too. That's
for sure. I'm not saying that.
No, but just to show that how corrupt humans actually are and can be, and it's a wonder that we're still here.
Were some terrifying murder tribes here in the States. Yeah, natives that were terrifying.
What
Yes.
happened to the
They did
Anasazi?
horrifying things to other tribes.
The Anasazi got completely taken out because the other tribes were tired of them murdering everybody, so they just took them out.
But
anyway.
yeah, the American idea, the American dream is actually a multicultural invention, and it's a beautiful one.
And when I say the West, I don't just mean America, because America Westernism is different because we don't have a ethno-state mentality. Whereas if you look at Great Britain, well, you have the English, you have the Scottish, you have the Welsh, and then you have the Northern Irish. Those are all like very white, very pasty people.
Right.
in a very small place, whereas America is just like an amalgamation of a lot of peoples.
Yeah.
But the Western idea of civilization is industriousness, worship your God. Don't tell me to worship your God, but you can do your thing.
You're allowed to think and believe
Evolving,
what you want. So free thought, free speech.
Guilty or no, innocent
Until
before
proven
guilty. Until
So,
proven guilty.
so there's an element to the divine in every human being that you should treat them as such, even if you're almost completely sure that they probably committed the crime.
Yeah.
You still treat them as though, and you also don't have unfair punishments, excessive punishments. You're supposed to try and be equal-handed.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going, but the West is a great culture, and it's freaking falling apart, and it's a shame.
It's a damn shame,
And it
man.
had the seeds of its own destruction within its creation as well.
Yeah. Let's wind this thing
yeah,
down because we're
yeah,
running
yeah.
long here. Let's let this gentleman finish, and then we're going to do a quick good news roundup, guys, and we're going to wind on down here, fam. So let's let this gentleman finish off now.
Others that just love our country, right? We're doing the best we can to love God, and Charlie was a man of God, man. The AmFest, he cannot be replaced, and they know this. That's why they came.
There is no
That's why they
replacing
picked Charlie. It's hard for me. I mean, I've never met him. That's how you know when you've impacted the world. When your death makes people who never met you break down like you're your best, like we were sat at the table together. It's a devastating day.
And these people are so frank and authentic, man. They're not looking for attention. They're expressing their heart. They're heartbroken, and they're trying to say, hey, guys, we got to heal this. Much respect, man. Thank you guys so much for speaking your truth. Hey, yo, guys, thank you all for being here with us. Let's do our good news roundup. Because, man, I almost didn't even want to do the good news roundup today because the news is so sad. It's so devastating. It's so shocking.
I still don't want to. Doom,
man,
doom.
But, man, there is still good in this world,
Yeah,
at least.
there
So
is.
this is at least a hopeful reminder of that. So I like this a lot. Go ahead and, yeah. So tiny protein confirmed to dismantle the toxic clumps that are linked to Alzheimer's disease. Wow. Okay, so there's the scan difference of a normal brain and an Alzheimer's diseased brain. Look at how much less activity. So scientists at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital have demonstrated for the first time that the protein midkine plays a preventative role in Alzheimer's disease. Midkine is known to accumulate in Alzheimer's patients, but rather than accelerate the disease, it seems to prevent a second sticky protein from clumping together, the chief hallmark in this form of dementia. Alzheimer's disease drug research almost exclusively focuses on amyloid beta, referred to sometimes as Dow protein, its molecular class. There are 6 kinds of Dow proteins, and they're necessary for maintaining the stability of microtubules in the human nerve fibers. When the Dow proteins, in particular amyloid beta, become hypophosphorylated, something like that, they are observed to clump together around neurons and cause a kind of atrophy. This is generally considered to be the pathology and driver of Alzheimer's disease. The rot cause is manifold, with the patient's genetic mutation, sex, toxin exposure, and sleep history all suspected to play a role. So this is huge news, guys. And if you would like to read further, check out the Good News Roundup. It's linked in the description of this video. And let's check out one more piece of good news here. When we lose a life, it's always heartening when a new life comes into the world. Orangutan released after 9 years of intensive rehabilitation in nonprofit's jungle school. I thought this was really touching. A conservation project just announced the successful release of Poppy, a female orangutan rescued as an infant into the Busang ecosystem of East Borneo. After 9 years of intensive rehabilitation, Poppy has now returned to her natural rainforest home thanks to a collaboration. Blah, blah, blah. Poppy was, oh my gosh. Is that baby Poppy?
Or that's her baby.
Or maybe that's her baby? So, okay, yeah, I think you're right. Because just eight weeks old at the time of her rescue, she entered into the Bora team members' hands, completely dependent and highly vulnerable.
And that's a tough thing too, getting a raised in captivity to go out in the wild and actually be reproductively productive.
Oh my gosh. And the wild young orangutans suckle from their mothers for up to 8 years.
Damn.
While learning vital survival skills
It's weird
such as
if
nest
humans do it.
building, climbing, and foraging. In captivity, orphans like Poppy miss out on this critical learning period.
Yeah.
To fill that gap, Bora's dedicated staff act as surrogate mothers, providing the round-the-clock care and gradually teaching the skills necessary for independent life in the forest. During her rehabilitation, Poppy progressed through jungle school where she learned to climb confidently, forage for natural foods, and build secure nests. She developed important social bonds with other orphaned orangutans, which supported her emotional recovery. In May 2025, she was transferred to a forested pre-release island where she refined her survival skills in preparation for release. That's so cool that they went in this in depth. On August 10, 2025, after 9 long years away from her natural home, Poppy was transported to the Busang area by road and river. Upon arrival, she was released deep in the rainforest and immediately climbed into the canopy, demonstrating her readiness for life in the wild. Monitoring teams will continue to observe her transition to ensure her long-term success.
Well,
Okay, so she's actually recently reunited with 2 other female orangutans that were released earlier this year, whom she met in jungle school. So they're all hanging out together now. That's so cool.
yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's humans, I won't say are intrinsically good. We're violent creatures, but we have insane capacity for goodness. Why should we care about rehabilitating orangutan?
I do believe it's the optimal mode for us because that is when civilizations, families, communities, from the very bottom all the way up.
Even if it's against our nature, it seems to be the most optimal mode.
When we're more loving and kind. Of course,
Sure.
it makes sense. We're a social species. We're like ants. When we work together, we can build things we could never build by ourselves.
We're even beyond that. We're an ant that'll go to another ant colony and be like, "You guys doing good?
Yeah.
Need anything? What's going on?
Yeah,
Can
we're
we help
ants
you?"
that will create skits and entertainment and comedy and music for other completely stranger apes just because we like making other apes feel good.
Yeah, right.
It makes us feel good when we make other apes feel good.
Oh, yeah.
That is built in. That means that we definitely have at least a very great predisposition for goodness. We're not born good. You have to be conditioned. And, it's just like a dog. You raise it in a loving environment. It's going to become the most loving and noble friend you've ever made. It's the same with humans.
Yeah.
And that's it. So love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. It's a sad day. Hug your family and friends, and let's try and be that change we wish to see in this world. Let's not fall prey to the hatred, to the divide and conquer mentality. Let's not other one another. Let's remember that we're all humans, artful beings that matter, and there is something sacred in everything and everyone else. One around us. So let's seek to honor that more and more, fam.
So
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Rest in peace, Charlie.
Rest in peace, Charlie.
Everybody pray for his wife and his 2 beautiful kids.
Yeah.
And their families down the line.
And peace in our world and in this country. And let's try and turn that clock back.
And fight the urge to become the devil that you're fighting.
Yeah, really,
best
man.
you can,
Don't be turned into monster. So that's it, fam. Thank you so much. This has been Meaning Making 101 here on Actuali Podcast. We try and do this every week on Wednesday, 7 p.m. EST.
When the
Eastern
gremlins
Standard.
aren't kicking our butt.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I just got the computer some new RAM. It was a RAM issue. And after checking the RAM, I thought it wasn't the RAM. But sure enough, thanks to KMG Computers in Inwood, West Virginia, you guys rocked it out and saved the podcast.
It's always the RAM. That's why we depict the devil as a ram.
I have 2 sticks of RAM in there, and I took one out and tested, took the other one out, tested, moved them around, and that didn't, it didn't seem it was the RAM, but not that it's thinking motherboard or PSU, but it was the RAM.
Hey,
So,
we're back down to 200 milliseconds of delay on the board, which is where we needed to be. We're up at like 400 once it started getting real bad. So
yeah. Well, hey, we had, looks like we had some new viewers in here tonight, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoy what's happening here, and share us with your friends. And, come back. We'll be here next time. You guys are always welcome to share your thoughts and questions.
Yeah.
Much love, fam. See you next week. We out. Let's dance our way on out of here. It's a sad day, but we still got the right to dance.
I've been DJ.
Spread joy. I've been Chris.
And we love you, Charlie. Sorry you had to leave too soon. Peace.
Much love, brother. See you on the other side.
We out. And we're back. Oh,
Oh, there's the music. Woo!
Oh, and we're back.
Yeah!
Oh, it just took a minute. Ah.
Oh yeah, don't stay tuned. The live stream will begin next week, Wednesday, 7 p. EST. That's the extra thing
Oh yeah.
that I added there. I
Oh,
gotta
wait.
make a new one of those.
Yeah. Here
We need one for the
we'll
beginning,
put
one
it
for
to
the
the
end.
still. All
There
right.
we go.
Yeah.
Nice,
We
nice,
kind of know
nice.
what we're
There it is.
doing. Kind
We're-
of. See you guys later.